From Studio 34E, you are watching another episode of the Scooting Scholar Report. I'm your humble host, Richard Lawrence. Well, as we bring August to a close, I'm reminded of another milestone in American history. In fact, on this day, the day that we are recording this, August 28th, 2015, marks the 60th anniversary of the death of Emmett Till. Now, if you don't remember who Emmett Till is, he was the 14-year-old boy from Chicago, a black young man who was visiting his relatives in the small town of Money, Mississippi. The story goes that he went to a store and said something to a white young woman. It was either hello or hey baby, whatever the case may be. He said something that didn't go over well with some of her white companions. Till was dragged away from his grandfather's place, taken to a mill where he was lynched and then thrown into a river. This event, though, became really the catalyst for the civil rights movement because basically from that point in 1955 until 1965, a lot took place. We already spoke last week about the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which was probably the culminating moment of the civil rights movement. But the event that started it all was the event that where Emmett Till lost his life. And we also must thank his mother, really, for helping to make his death such a well-known event. It was she who asked that his casket be left open for all to see. As we saw his very badly decayed body, and this again was the body of a 14-year-old boy that was treated so horribly. But again, because of the loss of his life, as blacks, as African Americans, we have many privileges today that the loss of his life helped to spur. And so we like to commemorate the 60th anniversary of the death of Emmett Till. And speaking of the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s, we also in August lost a pioneer in the movement, that being Julian Bond, who died a couple of weeks ago at the age of 75. Now, Bond wasn't nearly as flamboyant or as well known as, say, Martin Luther King Jr. or Malcolm X, or say someone like Stokely Carmichael. Instead, Bond was more of a behind-the-scenes person, as he was the media strategist for a great period for the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, as well as the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, or the SNCC. And so it was through his influence using media that he was able to help get stories out there that, again, helped to create an environment to where the civil rights movement was able to proceed and excel and flourish. And so we mourn the loss of a great pioneer, a very elegant and well-spoken pioneer in Julian Bond. Now, before I leave, I can't not mention the tragedy that just happened a couple of days ago, where a reporter, Allison Parker, and her cameraman, Adam Ward, were shot down in cold blood on live television. It's a very sad state of affairs, and there's much more that I should say about it, and I probably will in the coming week. But I did not want to forget these two individuals. For whatever reason that there may have been grievances against them, they certainly didn't deserve to die the way they did. And so our prayers and thoughts go out to the families of both of these individuals as they try to move on with their lives after such a tragic loss. Well, that is it for this edition of the Scooting Scholar, which means I need to scoot. But don't forget, we can continue this conversation on Twitter and on Facebook. Remember, I am RJ Lawrence Jr. on Twitter. I'm also at thescootingscholar.net, as well as facebook.com/thescootingscholar. Nevertheless, I want to say I thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure, and I hope we get to do it again real soon. See you.